travelers. Welcome to today's episode of Will of the Dice Presents Cast Guidance. I am Tyr the DM, the world's okayest DM, and with me as always is Loch Clark, that unruly one. Hey, Loch. It's cold as balls. We had snow yesterday. Brr. Weather's weird. Global warming is a thing. Damn near 60. Cannot hear Loch. Okay, hold on. Let me.
Can't hear that. I am singing this because we would get sued otherwise.
All right.
Ba, 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 ba.
Now they should be able to hear you.
Check, check. 1, 2. Can you hear me, audience?
Yep, they can hear you now. Yay.
Hey.
Sorry, guys. New system, new setup, new year. Wouldn't be Cast Guide. Wouldn't be anything Will of the Dice without at least one tech gremlin showing up.
Tech gremlins.
Got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about spellcrafting. But before we do that, we do have a couple announcements to make. First off being, we are for mature audiences. So if you're not a mature audience, get the fuck out. We love you, but get the fuck out. Secondly, we are in no way, shape, or form affiliated with Wizards of the Coast, TSR, any TTRPG creations, publications, any of that. We're just two individuals giving our questionable opinion. There's those. You want to dice them, Loch?
Yes. I'm not going to do anything specific today because I'm feeling lazy, but I'm here to talk to you about our partners with Never Level Up Dice. Find purveyors of luxury dice for all your sexy dice needs. And you should go there and you should check out some dice. You check out our ambassador dice. They may be back in stock yet. I'm not sure, but go look at them regardless. And to do that, you're going to go to our portal, which helps us. It makes us look good to the company, and you want us to look good, right? And so you're going to go to that portal, which is http://bit.ly/ it's capital W, capital O, capital T, capital D, capital dice. All one word. Yeah, hey, there it is. Oh, that's the other one. The other one's in chat too. You can use that one too. Either one will work. They will get you where you're going. That's bit.ly/WOTD dice. Go check them out. The ambassador dice are really cool. Look how many 20s Tyr rolled during that one shot.
Rolled 5D or natural 20s. I was on fire. Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, so go check those out and see if they're back in stock. Check out the other products available and enjoy.
Also, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean.
I was going to also thank the person who provides music for today's show, and that's Patrick Taylor. Thanks, Pants.
Thanks, Pants. Also, want to give a shout out to Chad McInturf. They over at Patreon, we do monthly merch giveaways. They won this month. They won a set of our hockey puck D6s.
Nice.
So good job, Chad. And we recorded the first episodes of After the Rolls, basically roundtable talk show style, where we sat down and discussed the session that just happened. This is Patreon exclusive. And if you want to check that out, head over to patreon.com/WOT dice. What dice? So, there's our announcements and everything. So let's get into the heart of it. Into the meat. You brought this topic to light. So do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so there's a long history in D&D of wizards creating their own spells in the game, of modifying existing spells to do something slightly different, recoloring spells and just renaming them after your character because it's cool to do that. And so we're going to be talking about different ways to go about that, and whether it affects game balance, how you as a DM should deal with this, that sort of thing today. Keep in mind that like a lot of the that's how a lot of the spells that have names associated with them came into the game. Like, a lot of them are, some of them are lore based, but some of those lore based people that was a character that someone played in like original D&D, and they came up with a cool spell, and because they were on the dev team, they got it put into the game. Like, all the Bigsby's hands, and Tensor's floating disc, and stuff like that. That's how they get there, and the rules encourage players to be able to eventually make their own spells when you're a high enough level wizard. But I don't think you should have to be that high to modify a spell. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Tyr, what do you think?
So, what we're going to, where to begin on this? I'm excited about this topic, actually, because I have done this in previous versions. So, what got all of this started today is Loch sent me a link. There's a tongue twister for you. Individual talking about how they allowed people to manipulate spells during the game. Like for in the video, they were using the shield spell, and that given an Arcana check with a high enough DC, and once it was passed, that you could actually project the shield spell to protect someone else. Now, I think this is an excellent thing. I have never discouraged people attempting to do spell crafting. In fact, I actually have a set of guidelines for creating new spells that magic users can create. So basically, here's my guidelines for creating new spells, and then we'll go into augmenting existing spells. So let's say that Karak wants to create a spell. What Karak needs is, depending on the level, so it's 100 gold per level, and it's 24 hours per level. And then it's an Arcana check. Before it was an intelligence check, but now that we have actual dedicated stats to rolling, and it would be like a series, like a couple of Arcana checks. It's not a in-depth grinding process. A lot of it depends on the spell, and if I would allow the spell at my table, because people have tried to come up with some humdingers, like summon Tiamat. No.
Hey, fun fact: did you know that only the redhead of Tiamat's name is Tiamat? The others are Tia Bob, Tia Paul, Tia. No, just kidding.
So I can
Tia
see
Pete.
Tia Bill. I can see being able to augment spells on the fly, depending on the caster's level and the level of spell they're trying to augment. Like, I would say, that, how do I want to word this? I'm so excited I can't get this is the problem with ADD. You get excited about something, and then your mind goes in like 60 different directions.
Right.
So I can definitely see the advantage of allowing casters to augment spells on the fly. The only thing that I see is that sometimes people try to manipulate my generosity and try to do something that is just so outrageous. But now with Arcana checks and stuff, I can set the DC at what would be reasonable. Uh, but no, I would love, uh, I have worked with players before to create spells and everything, and I think that it is just an awesome part of building up the game, building up the world lore. So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of this completely.
Yeah, I wish I'd been thinking along those lines during the one shot, actually, because I found myself in a situation where uh, Green Flame Blade wasn't doing me any good, um, because there were no other creatures around me to attack. We were fighting a dragon, and I probably could have asked, "Hey, the dragon is big enough. Can I hit it with the green flame too, or can I modify the spell so that the flame channels into this creature that I'm hitting as well?" Because the way Green Flame Blade works is, you cast the spell, and as part of casting the spell, you strike the opponent with the blade, doing regular blade damage to the creature, and then after a successful hit, a gout of green flame jumps off the blade and hits another target that's within 5 feet. Um, so when fighting that dragon, I'm standing on its back. That spell was pretty much useless. So yeah, if I had been thinking, I should have been. There are a couple of ways that I probably could have made that still work, but I didn't think of them in the moment, so they didn't. Oh, Tyr's got a serious face on.
See, here's the thing about that. I would have totally allowed some kind of check to see if the flame, as big as the dragon was, to see if you know I would have allowed it.
Yeah, I didn't actually ask for it, so that's on me because I was being frustrated in the moment and didn't think to ask, hey, can this still hit the dragon? Because he's huge, right?
Right. My mind is like going. Now, see, here's how I see things going down. I think. Oh, so like let's say that you're Karak and you try to manipulate a spell to work outside of the parameters based in the spell's description, and it's something that could feasibly. That's one of the things. It's got to be able to feasibly work. Like you can't take like cure and then all of a sudden make it create food. Something like that.
Right, right.
I think that it would be an Arcana check, but the DC would be on a scale. So let's say that you hit the lowest tier. Well, it works that one time. It was a heat of the moment type thing, allowed you to be able to manipulate the divine arcane. But if it hits high enough, well, then you just created a new spell on the fly, and that's added to your repertoire. You know, uh, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like that. Yeah, whether or not you improvised once and managed to do it, and like I was trying to think of I'm trying to look for an example on Karak's sheet at the moment, and I'm not seeing one that's like easily modified. Um, uh, to do something else. Um, but that's yeah. I'm just none of them are jumping out at me as like here's one you can easily modify to do a different thing. Maybe I should be looking. I should be. But yeah, no, I totally get it. Like you if you succeed, you do it. But if you succeed really, really well, then you figured out how you figured it out, and now you can do it. Anytime you cast that spell, you can choose to cast it the other way.
Right. Sir Stott wants to know, how long do you have to cast a spell to be able to modify it? Well, whatever the casting time is.
I think he's asking like how like is there a like I just got this spell because I just leveled and now I'm going to modify it immediately, or do you need to like have it and have cast it a few times and be like really familiar with the spell? Do you need do you need to have been working with the spell for a certain amount of time before you try modifying it? I think is what he's asking.
Well, I think with that, I think the familiarity with the spell would impact the DC, but I don't think it would prevent the attempt. For example, if you just picked up a spell, I'm just going to, because Lollipop mentioned it in chat, Ice Knife. If you just got Ice Knife, it would be a little bit higher DC to try to augment it on the first couple of castings than it would be something like Thunderwave that you've had, all this time. I think that's the fair way to do it.
And then and like changing out the element of an elemental spell, I think is totally reasonable. Wizards throwing ice ball instead of fireball, or whatever, acid ball.
Now I see this on two different planes as far as reflavoring spells. The first one is that I've seen this discussion a couple of times out there in the social medias and everything, and me and you have had this discussion a couple of times. I have no problem. Like, let's say that you are playing a water genasi mage and you want all your spells to be water or ice flavored. I have no problem accommodating that, so that you, instead of fireball, you're always casting ice ball, that sort of thing. I think in order to change the metaphysical of the spell, it would be a higher DC in the moment. You understand? Like,
Yeah.
Because you're taking a spell and literally changing the metaphysical properties of it instead of using it outside of the means that it's supposed to be used. So that would make it a higher DC, but I have no problem with people trying it.
Right. Like, the difference being, like, if you are flavoring your character from the beginning and that spell has always been that spell for you, that you have always known ice ball, not fireball. You've never done fireball. You don't know how to cast fireball. You just know ice ball. That's one thing. If you're a wizard who casts fireball and suddenly you find yourself facing a very large fire elemental and you know that your fireball is not going to work and you have to redo the spell on the fly to reach into a different elemental plane to pull the energy for your spell, that's a very different thing. So yeah, no, I'm all for flavoring your spells to make them yours. And I'm for the other thing too, like, oh no, I don't have anything that will affect this guy because all of my magic is fire based. Well, let me see if I can make an Arcana check and change on the fly and improvise a spell that will do this. But yeah,
I see. I love this concept. I love, because how many times have we as people, and everybody uses the word hack, but how many times have we hacked something to make our lives easier, how many times have we taken a piece of technology that does XYZ and got it to do ABC because it made our lives easier or made our lives better. And it wasn't intended to do ABC, but we figured out how to make it do ABC. I mean, we as people do this all the time, every day. You know, we
Yeah.
find ways to make things that operate XYZ operate ABC. And a mage is going to be familiar with the arcane. They're going to be familiar with the energy. They're going to be familiar with manipulating the energy. I mean, they're mages. This is what they do. So I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do something like that. It would just have a degree of difficulty.
Now I'm wondering, would it be? Do you think it would be more difficult to alter who a spell targets, or to alter which elemental plane you're pulling the energies from?
I think it would depend on the spell.
Like the difference being like, shield. Shield is a self-target spell only, but if I can change it so that I can use it, I can target that person over there. That's one thing. I'm still using the same forces. I'm just changing the target. Whereas throwing ice ball instead of fireball, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just reaching into a different elemental plane for the energies. I personally, I think game balance wise, it has to be that it's a higher difficulty to change the target. Just because like the ramifications of that are, and there has to not be a version of that already out there in the world.
Right.
Kind of like if I wanted to change the target of cure wounds, or I guess the range on cure wounds, to not have to touch the target, that would be a much higher difficulty. You know?
Now, see, I see it the exact opposite. I think it would be harder to change the metaphysical properties of like fireball to ice than it would be to change the range or the target of a spell that is already. That's how I say. I think it would be easier for me to project shield onto you than it would be for me to reach into the elemental plane of ice or water instead of the elemental plane of fire. That's how I see it.
I'm thinking about the broader ramifications of that, and like I said, so right now cure wounds is a touch spell. I have to touch you. If I want to change the range on that to 20 feet, 15 feet, whatever, and cure wounds someone at range, basically I'm doing healing word, but I'm doing it better.
But see, this goes back to the prerequisite of there can't be something that already does it.
Right.
So
yeah.
You already have healing word that is a healing spell at range. So, but I could see allowing cure wounds at a range. The distance would impact the difficulty. You know?
Right. Well, yeah, I think you have to then break down like the the scale of it. Like, there's self, there's touch, and then how many, and then does the difficulty go up at every increment after that, every 5-foot increment after that?
I would say yes.
It's like healing word is a 60-foot range, which is huge.
Yes.
I would say, but there's not any, there's not a spell that does, you could argue that healing word, if you make if you make a version of cure wounds that is at range, it can't be the same range as healing word. It has to be less because you're focusing more healing energy. I don't know. That would be one that I would make a really hard difficulty to pull off, because it is game changing. It could be game breaking even.
Yeah.
It radically changes the game balance. Whereas, um, uh, ice ball instead of fireball doesn't radically change the balance of the game.
Exactly.
I think anytime you're screwing, you're modifying healing magic, that's gonna be a harder pull. You know.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that's one of the things as a DM you're going to have to take into consideration is how is this going to impact not only this moment but moments down the line. Also, anything a player can do, an enemy can do.
Right.
That is the universal balance that I use. Not all DMs do that. At my table, anything that you can do, they can do to a degree. So, that's one of the things. And this brings me to one of the biggest tips that I can give a dungeon master, period. It is okay to say, hold on, let me think about this for a minute, and take a moment to actually consider. You don't have to make a spur of the moment decision. You can take a few minutes to consider the ramifications and everything. No, you cannot make a healing spell not counterable.
Damn it.
Magic in itself is counterable, but good try. But I think that too many DMs are afraid to say, hold on a minute. It's like too many DMs are afraid to say, hold on, let's look at this rule, or I'm not sure, let me look at this rule right quick. Now, there'll be times where I'm like, okay, I'm going to rule on it, we'll keep going, and then if we'll look it up afterwards. But we're confined to finite amount of time on our streams.
Right.
So, but I just a normal session where we're not on a time limit where we're just kicking it around the table, I will take the time to look up the rule. I'll be like, okay, hold on, let's look up the rule, let's discuss, let's figure it out, and go on. And I think that's important. That's Tyr's DM tip of the day. If you need to take a minute, take a damn minute.
Right, absolutely. And there's no shame in looking things up. You can't be expected to memorize the entirety of all the books.
There's too much. And I forget stuff. I'm on a massive amount of pain meds, and so I forget shit. So, that's why, I rely on you guys to know your shit. Okay.
And we try.
So I've rambled about it. Now, what's your thoughts on it?
I am 100% for versatility in spellcasting. And love the idea of, I feel like it's a system that could be easily abused, but at the same time, I think it's a system that brings a lot of cool play. I love the idea in the example that we gave at the beginning, the shield spell, that you're a wizard and you see one of your friends about to be struck down, and you reach deep and alter a spell so that you can throw a shield up in front of another player. I think that's cinematic. It's rule of cool. It hits all those happy buttons for me. Like I said, though, I think that you have to be careful with it, and there has to be, you have to really examine some things, like healing spells could get out of hand if you start allowing those are balanced within the game the way they're balanced for a reason, and allowing any modifications to them could could be detrimental to gameplay as a whole. It could break a game.
And this is going to bring me to something else. This is a little bit off to the side, but this is something that I feel segues well and is important. There is nothing wrong for if you allow something in the moment for the cinematic, the rule of cool or whatever, and then later on you're like, okay, this is going to be game breaking. There is nothing wrong with sitting down, talking with your player and going, okay, we need to change this up a little bit because it's going to be game breaking. We need to figure out how to still allow you to have this cool thing, but to rein it in so that you're not breaking everything. It's not completely overpowered. There's nothing wrong. Adult conversations are the backbone of Dungeons and Dragons.
Absolutely.
Being able to sit down and have conversations with your players. And the DM, you're the DM. You have the final say. So if you're be careful what you allow, but always if you allow something, cover your ass with, yeah, let's do this. If it turns out to be game breaking, we'll have to retcon it. But for now, in the moment, let's go with it. There's nothing wrong with saying that. There's nothing wrong with having those conversations. Because I don't think there's some players out there that try to break shit, that they're trying to make everything overpowered to where they are the ultimate badass and there is no danger to them. But I think for most part, most players want a balanced game. They want that. They want to be able to have those moments of excitement and tension and drama and even that feeling of, oh, we're in danger. I think most players want that. I think it gets boring without it.
Yeah, and also, like, don't be afraid to say it worked that one time. If you realize that a thing, if it continues to be used, could be game breaking, allowing it the one time, rule of cool, like, that was cool in that moment, that's fine. But then saying, no, but we're not going to let you do that again because I looked at the ramifications of it and it really can get, this could be game breaking. So while I let you do it that one time, don't think it's an every time thing. Don't think it's something you can continuously do. And there's nothing wrong with, as a DM, saying that to your players. Your players should be able to have an adult conversation about that, recognize why you see that as game breaking, and accept it. So, telling them that they can't, cure wounds from 60 feet away. That you allowed it that one time because they were doing something extraordinarily cool in the moment or whatever. There are limitations. You can put limitations on things even if you've allowed them previous.
And that's just part of. We have said so many times that session 0 is important, and one of the things you need to establish in session 0 is that shit is fluid. And things may change, and that there may be, adult conversations and rule changings and things like that. That, the game is fluid. Everything is fluid. And this is why, it is important to establish that with your players. And if your players trust you, which they should be okay with it. I'm never going to try to fuck my player. Look, there's enough shit in the Monsters Manual that if I wanted to fuck my players, I just got to go through and go, this. I don't have to do anything outside of the boundaries. What's the big lizard thing? Terrask or?
The Tarrasque, yeah.
Tarrasque. Oh, look, a Tarrasque just showed up. Welcome to a TPK.
Oh, cool. The Tarrasque showed up. By the way, did I mention that I'm a ranger and that's my animal companion? No, is that not working? Is that you're not going to buy that? No. Damn it.
No, because you play a cleric.
In this game.
Yes, in this game. Which after this weekend, that may all be.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I might be playing a cleric. I might be playing a ranger. I've got one of those on the books ready to go.
Awesome.
His backstory has to be modified slightly, but I don't know. You. I've been thinking about which one of my if we if we don't save the world, how things are gonna go, and I haven't. I don't know. I don't know. I've got options. We'll see.
See, this weekend coming up, I'm actually torn. Like, I always root for my players. Like, you have to compartmentalize as a DM because there's part of you that has to be fair and uh, playing the game, but then there's part of you that's rooting for your players. I want my players to succeed. I love when my players have those moments of epic, you know, this will become folklore type things. But I am torn on this one because while I want you guys to succeed, I want to see the post-apocalyptic world. It's
And I'm torn because I love my characters, and yet I've got so many characters that I could play, and playing in a post-apocalyptic world does sound fun, and I think eventually we'll get there, um, one way or another. But yeah, a couple of those post-apocalyptic ideas, I've already got minis for them. They're ready to go. Like, yeah.
it's like I need to find that supplement that you sent me a link for that on doing the apocalyptic.
Mm.
I need to find that so I can get it.
You should be able to search it in our chat. Because I believe I sent it to you directly on Discord, so you should be able to do a search there. But yeah, no, it's playing in a post-apocalyptic world would be cool, and I've got like 5 characters that I'm looking at. I'm going, which one of you, which two of you is it going to be, or am I going to make something new? I don't know. Yeah, and maybe I'll make something where I can modify spells. I can't bring in my Harry Dresden character because he's multi-class.
Yeah. One of these days I'm going to allow multi-classing.
But yeah, I've got I built Harry Dresden. If anyone out there is a Dresden fan, I built Harry Dresden as a D&D character. I made him. I believe he's a wizard warlock. I think. Hold on, I can look him up real quick because I've got D&D Beyond up. He was.
I have so got to replace my good headphones. These things are horrible.
No, that's not him. The right one. Oh, here he is. Yeah, he's a wizard warlock. Order of the Scribe, and let's see what kind of warlock was he. And an archface worn warlock. So his spell book is a skull because it's Bob.
Nice.
And yeah, and and he's got a fairy godmother. So yeah.
Yeah, Stod, I was looking at those. I just have to be able to afford them, sadly. So once I can afford them, I will get me a better pair. These have a hum to them that is driving me absolutely insane. But they were $5, so
Understandable.
So I've just been struck with inspiration about creating a class that is a wild magic user that instead of having set spells, they have mana points and can manifest their energy in different ways based off of their imagination.
Interesting. So I'm going to do something I don't usually do. I'm going to talk about a game that no one else here has gotten to play. I've been playtesting for quite a while now. A system that my SCA Squire brother has been writing. I've done a little bit of writing for it. It's a really cool system, and he's getting close to having the book publication ready, and is looking at self-publishing. It's called Elements of Adventure, and one of the things about it is his magic system is all elemental based. And you have to have a gem that lets you focus that element. And the more powerful your gem is, the more bonuses you get to casting spells with that element. But there are no spells in the game. There are no set spells. There is you have I do this much elemental damage with my magic, but you get to choose what it looks like. You get to choose the form of it. You can choose the effects of the spell. It's just you're just manipulating the element. So if you want it to grapple someone, you can grapple someone with your element. You can, if you want to directly attack someone, you can do that, or you can create a sphere of your element, and on your turn, just move it onto someone, and then move it over there. And you can do the same thing with healing magic in his game too. One of the coolest things I've seen is a healer create a ball of healing energy, and then just focus and maintain it, and then just move it around the field to hit the people who have gotten hurt. The only downside to that is that means that the bad guys, if they get close enough, they can step into the healing magic and heal themselves. So it's a cool system. I love the versatility of it. And he does multi-classing in an interesting way too. Like, you can only ever have 2 classes, but when you take a second class, it is the two. All of the classes have synergy with each other. So depending on what 2 classes you combine, you create a prestige class sort of deal where you now have you get a bonus thing, some cool new ability for combining those 2 classes. It's a really fun system, and I really enjoy it. I figured out how to make a Were-Ceratops in that system. Because his druid-like class, you can turn into animals. And when you combine the druid-like class with certain other classes, you get cool abilities. If you combine it with his monk-like class, you get you get the ability to turn into a were version of an animal. So if you play a minotaur and you are a druid monk, and you choose rhinoceros as your animal that you partially transform into, you become an armor-plated creature with 3 horns. You're a Were-Ceratops.
All right, I think we're going to go ahead and take our break.
Tyr, you're muted.
Oh, okay. So me sitting here going, that's nice, that's awesome, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so... it is too early. It is too early.
Totally is. I feel that.
We're going to go ahead and take our break. We'll be back in 10 minutes and finish up for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us as we talk more about spellcrafting and cast tangents, because that's what we do. We'll be back in 10 minutes, guys.
It's our favorite spell.
Thanks so much for hanging out while we took our break. Got our beverages of choice, handled everything. We've been talking about spell crafting. Ustad is driving, so no more questions from Ustad. Boo. Ustad asks good questions. He said there are no stupid questions, but he asks good questions. So, middle note to smack him next time I see him for calling his questions stupid.
Ustad deserves a good smack every now and again.
Oh, awesome. We got Dr. Hetger89. I'm finally able to be on when it's live. It's been a while. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Definitely love seeing faces, love seeing people. And somewhere's out here, based on the message that we got in chat, Dan is lurking. Garbo!
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan. Oh, there it is. I was going to say I lost my monster. That's the kind of day it is. I'm missing shit that's right in front of me. While we were on break, I went ahead and bought that apocalyptic module that we were talking about. Put a link in the chat for my players to peruse it, just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case. Oh,
You're not saying everything's going to go horrible, but it could.
everything will be fine. Rainbows, puppies, unicorns. That's how I run my games. Okay, so any questions, guys? While we've come back, we've been rambling about spellcrafting. Now that we're back, I feel tangents coming on, but we want to know, do you guys have any questions? You know, we like the interactive portion of this show. Puppy shit everywhere and unicorns can be dicks.
All fair. So we talked a lot about modifying spells, but we haven't talked a lot about like just creating a brand new spell.
Okay.
We hit on it a little bit at the beginning, I think, but maybe we should think about a new spell and see what we can come up with.
Let me grab my implement of destruction. Guys, these are the best mechanical pencils. They're called Dr. Grip. I have bad arthritis in my hands. These things are so comfortable, I can use them without my hands cramping. I want to thank Ren. She got me 2 of these. These have been a game changer for my DM lifestyle. I can take notes better, everything else. So if you're looking for a good mechanical pencil for your implement of destruction, check them out. All right, so what spell do we want to create, Loch?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. What are we missing? What would be really would be really good that we don't see a lot of in D&D? Let's see.
Dizzy Dan said Rain of Squirrels.
Okay, Rain of Squirrels.
All right, this would be, if we're basing it off of the Wild Magic event when you all took damage, I would say this would be a 3rd level spell.
I assume it would do bludgeoning damage.
Yes.
And
we're going to change this to a 4th level spell because it's going to do bludgeoning and piercing because the squirrels are going to bite.
I would say so. It does. So it's an area of effect, and you take bludgeoning damage initially, and then I would say you have to make a save. And if you fail the save, then you take piercing damage because the squirrels have landed on you and are biting.
Yes, I like that.
So yeah, yes, Lollipop, dex save, and you would calculate the save DC based on its level and your spellcasting stats as usual. So then we just have to figure out.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I'd say a 10-foot cylinder of squirrel rain.
yeah, 10-foot cylinder, 60-foot casting.
Yeah,
distance.
yeah.
Material component, squirrel tail.
Verbal and somatic, I would assume.
Yes.
And you can replace squirrel tail with a focus if you're a focus caster.
Yep.
Now here's the real question: does it create difficult terrain? You've got a bunch of squirrels on the ground in the area.
If we do that, we're going to have to up it a level.
Yeah.
But for shits and giggles, we'll make this 5th level.
Oh, we can make it 3rd level to start, and then if you upcast it at 5th level, you can choose between widening the cylinder or having enough squirrels compacted into the one area to create difficult terrain for those in the 10-foot cylinder.
I like that. We'll call it. Let's see. With the squirrels falling, when I had them fall, I did 3d8 bludgeoning on you guys. So it'd be 3d8 bludgeoning. And on a failed save, 3d6 piercing. Because squirrel bites are fucking ferocious.
Right.
Does it open a portal above terrain? Then does it have a spreading effect since the squirrels would run? I like the difficult terrain aspect of it. So if you upcast it, you can either expand it or cause difficult terrain.
Because if you expand it, then the squirrels are more spread out, so the terrain does not become difficult. But you catch more people with the initial rain. If you choose not to expand it, then more squirrels fall in the area because upcasting it would increase the damage. Therefore, more squirrels are falling, and then the terrain in that area becomes difficult as squirrels pile up around.
Something to consider: would someone in full plate be susceptible to squirrel bites? Yes, because squirrels are wiry little fuckers and can get into some interesting places. So I would say yes. You're going to have something open. I've been in full armor. There's always places that squirrels can bite. I'm totally making this and putting it in D&D Beyond. This spell is going to be homebrewed, put in D&D Beyond, and I will make it public.
See anything else that would go along with that? What's the duration on it going to be? Is it a concentration spell? Do you have to maintain concentration?
Well, see, Lollipop brought that up. Wanted to know if you could do it like Call Lightning, where you do concentration and then just keep bringing down squirrels. That would be hilarious. So, yes, concentration.
And then, as an action, can you move the cylinder? Is the next question. As long as you stay within your 60-foot range.
I would say, since we're kind of modeling this off of Call Lightning at this point, that yeah, because you can change where the lightning strikes. So you could, move it to strike other opponents with squirrels.
And if someone failed their saving throw against getting squirrel bites, and then you choose not to move the spell, if you just maintain the spell, they will continue to take the biting damage until they successfully make their saving throw to not get bitten by squirrels.
I love it. There we go. We just created, with all of these creations, I think that this needs to be a 5th level spell. With all of the just straight up 5th level, with all the platitudes that it's got going on.
Okay,
but
I'm for that.
Yeah, we're going to call this the Reign of Squirrely Wrath.
I love it. And
we're going to spell it REIGN. Thanks, Crimson Howling, for recommending the spelling. We're going to call it the Reign of Squirrely Wrath. It'll be in the Abjuration School, just because nothing is more protective than a pissed off squirrels. Seems like a druid spell. It does seem like a druid spell. So let's pull up D&D Beyond. We're going to do this. Create spell. Helps if you can spell. We'll make it conjuration.
Yeah, that seems more accurate.
1 action. Verbal, somatic, and material. This is a 60-foot spell. Duration type is concentration. All right, so and then after the show, I'll go in and put in the descriptions and stuff. I will finish this out. I will publish it, and I will make it open to the public. This will be a druid and ranger spell.
So now, as a caster who has Reign of Squirrely Wrath, and also has the 2nd level spell Cloud of Daggers, I now want to attempt to modify Cloud of Daggers to create Cloud of Squirrels.
Oh, give me an Arcana check. Give me an Arcana check.
Don't fuck me, Ustad. 14 plus. I'm on a character sheet that I'm on my Harry Dresden character sheet, so my Arcana is +7, so that's 21.
Ta-da! Cloud of squirrels.
That's right. So that means that I fill the air with flying, biting squirrels in a 5-foot cube on each side, centered on a point that I choose. Creatures take 4d4 piercing damage when they enter the spell's area for the first time, or their turn starts in there. So there you go. Cloud of Squirrels.
Cloud of squirrels, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so looking forward to creating this spell and turning it loose into the world. And I'm thinking of giving it to all caster types just because.
Yeah, no, that totally works.
Because I want to see this in game. I want to see one of the players cast it so bad.
I know I'm asking for trouble with this, but I'm willing to take one for the team here. I'm running a one shot coming up on was it the 23rd? It's one of the nights that Tyr's on call. And Tyr, if you're going to play in that game and you want to play a caster who has Reign of Squirrels, I'll allow it.
Awesome. I was going to create a ranger for your game, so
there you go. Play a ranger with Reign of Squirrels.
Ustad is excited that you're running a game.
Yeah, I'm really excited about my game. And my game, I've designed this one shot to be possibly more than a one shot. It because I know that my turn to DM will probably come around again for one shots with you being on call. I have designed this adventure so that there can be multiple parts to it. It's going to be a heist game because I think heists are fun, and I had a cool idea. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, people are like the people that have seen the primer are excited and want to play, but this one is cast only for this time. We will be bringing in guest stars on our one shots as well. Right now, we're just working through some stuff so that we can start bringing guest shots back in. Because I know that Black Dragon, you've got a guest spot coming up. I haven't forgotten you. A couple of other people, so we will get some guest spots coming in. But for now, right now, we're just having to maintain cast. But it's coming. 2022, baby. It's going to be the year of guest stars and everything else.
So yeah, no, I'm excited to run it. It seems like it's going to be interesting and fun, and yeah. So think of your favorite heist movies. The idea is that the players are going to be infiltrating a very, very fancy gala event to rob someone very powerful, and It ought to be good. I've been working on my world setting. I'm working on the actual adventure right now. Yeah. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah,
but
no, just it's
it's
going to be awesome, folks. It's going to be awesome.
I have ideas, and no one asked you. Alexa, stop. I don't know what I said that set her off, but she had some ideas that she found on the web for me, apparently.
That was nice of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like that. Lollipop asked if it was James Bond meets Mission Impossible. Kind of, not too far out of that realm. Yeah, there's some political components at play that could affect future adventures if the players do things that draw attention to themselves or whatnot. Yeah. We got any other questions? Anybody else want to see us add squirrels to a different spell?
I'm making notes right quick so I don't forget.
Oh, for a modern game? Usada wants to know what system we use for a modern game.
Okay.
By modern, I assume you don't mean futuristic. I assume you mean present tense modern.
If it was me and I was going to run a modern day game, I would use the Cypher system. Cypher is based off of D20, and it's multi-purpose, multi-genre system. It's you can use it for superhero, for western, for whatever. The thing that I like about it is that the game master does not roll any dice. All the dice rolling are done by the players only, and the game master sets the difficulty level, but then the players have boosters and things that they can spend to bring the difficulty down. As they level, they can make the difficulty easier. So if I was going to run just a straight up modern day game, that's the system I would use.
Ustad, to answer your question, no, my Heist is not a modern day game. It is a D&D game. We are using 5e. So it's going to be a heist game set in a medieval fantasy world. For me, I would choose Powered by the Apocalypse. Powered by the Apocalypse. Originally, it was Apocalypse World, and then they came out with Dungeon World, which was their medieval fantasy version of their rule set. And then from there, they have branched out and created countless other iterations. There's a superhero iteration. There's one of my favorites is called Monster of the Week, where they it's based off of all of your favorite Monster of the Week TV shows: X-Files, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Supernatural. Any archetype from any of those shows you can play. And like Cypher, the DM doesn't roll any dice. It's all based on 2d6 plus your skills. And if you roll like I think it's 9 or higher, you succeed. So if I want to punch Tyr, I roll, and if I get a 9 or higher, I successfully punch Tyr, and nothing happens to me. If I roll a 6, 7, or 8, then I punch Tyr, but Tyr punches me at the same time. And if I roll less than 6, then I swing and miss Tyr, but Tyr gets to punch me, and I take damage. And that's how the system works. So anything you do, if you succeed, you just do it. If you get in the mid range, then you have to make a hard decision. Like, it works, but something bad also happens, or it only kind of works. And then if you fail, you just fail and bad things happen. So I really like that system. It's a really good system. It encourages a lot of creativity from the players, and a lot of description and role play. So that would be what I would choose if I was going to run a modern setting.
Awesome.
Although back in the day, I think where Cypher came from during 3.5 D&D, they put out D20 Modern, which used the same basic rule set as D&D, but had modern stuff in it, and you could play a campaign set, and you could combine. You could take races from D&D and import them into your modern game and whatnot. So you could sort of hybrid your own Shadowrun or whatever. We actually, we very, very briefly, unfortunately, the game fell apart very quickly, which was sad because of people's schedules. But we ran a Stargate game using a combination of 3.5 D&D and D20 Modern.
Nice.
Which was really fun. Yeah, you were a government agency with modern weapons going through portals to different worlds. And a lot of those worlds were to Faerun or to Greyhawk or to wherever, So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I think it very much depends on what genre you're looking to play in the modern setting.
There was, let me find the name of it here. There on Geek and Sundry, there was a show called Callisto 6. If you like superhero stuff, go check it out. It is using the Cypher system. Eric Campbell is the storyteller, the game master. He is absolutely fucking brilliant. Love Eric Campbell. But it uses the Cypher system, and it is such a good story. And I fell in love with the Cypher system watching them play. And so much that I bought it. I bought the PDF. Eventually, I want to buy the hardback so that it goes in a nice place on my shelf. That I also want to buy a copy of Changed Stars, the one shot that I ran in, the sci-fi, because you could actually use that to make sort of a modern day space, or use their. There's just so many. There's so many TTRPGs out there that are so versatile. But give a big shout out to Diesel Shot. They're the ones that created Change Stars. Go check it out. It is absolutely phenomenal. Cypher system is phenomenal. And the other system I would run a modern day game in is just a system that I've been wanting to play, is 10 Candles. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Mm.
It's horror.
Oh.
It is a study in death because nobody gets out alive, literally. That is
Nice.
the thing you have to understand going in. This is a psychological horror experiment in death. Everybody is going to die. The game is played by the light of 10 candles. And every time a scene ends, a candle goes out. I have read people that have played this and then turned all the lights on in their home, and everybody spent 2 hours watching Cartoon Network after, just so people were safe to go home. It is supposed to be intense.
That sounds awesome. Also, if you're looking for a good superhero genre game, it's an older game, but Mutants and Masterminds was a system that, after having played Champions, which is very math intensive for years, we picked up and tried Mutants and Masterminds, and It was a delightful system because it gave you almost as much versatility in character creation and play for a superhero as champions, but without all the heavy math. So I really dug that system. I highly recommend it.
I'll have to add that to my list.
I think that was Green Grasshopper Press put that out. Like I said, it's an older game. I'll tell you a game, since we're talking about games that we desperately want to play but haven't gotten to. I bought it's a Powered by the Apocalypse game, and I bought the module for it, or I bought the specific packet for this version of Powered by the Apocalypse. Never got to play it. It was supposed to be a one-shot that was run on Level Up. And then things happened, and Storyteller Madness stopped being a thing, and the game got canceled, and I was super sad. And I'm trying to remember the name of it now. But no, I'll find the name. But while I'm looking for the name, it was a you played in a sleepy coastal town, and you played as a group of elderly women who do a mystery book club, who begin solving real-world murders. So it's like Golden Girls meets Murder, She Wrote.
Nice.
The game. I was so excited to try this game out, and it did not happen, and it made me very sad. Trying to find the name of it now. I bought it on Drive-Thru RPG, so maybe I can find it there. It should be in my purchase history, one would think, if I remember my login. Try that. Did I? It's called Brindlewood Bay, was the name of it. Brindlewood Bay Mysteries. So yeah, you play as the Golden Girls, but doing Jessica Fletcher's job.
That is awesome.
Yeah, right? Like, I was so excited to play in that game.
I would play that. I would totally play that. We need to find somebody to run it. Maybe we can talk John into running it. We'll do it as a one. John, if you're out there, we want you to run this. We want to do it as a one shot.
Yeah, now I'm going to look and see. Yeah, here we go.
Lollipop said they want to do a run of the Watership Down-based TTRPG.
Oh, dear. Yeah, because... rabbits are assholes. I'm sorry, it was Green Ronin Presses who put out Mutants and Masterminds. And looking at Drive-Thru RPG, there are a lot of books out for that. I did not realize, like, good Lord. I'm just trying to scroll to the end to see how many. 80. There are 80 Mutants and Masterminds books available. Some of them are supplements. Some of them are are different settings. I saw one that was a medieval version of it. There's a golden age version.
Nice.
There's a high school version, Hero High. There's a medieval fantasy version called Warriors and Warlocks, apparently. So yeah, there's so if you're interested in a cool superhero game, Mutants and Masterminds, the deluxe book is like $20 on Drive-Thru RPG.
I'll add that to my list of things to get in the future. All right. All right, guys. Any more questions? If not, we're going to wrap up and get out of here. It's not your fault, Stott. It's just a bad pain day. And my shoulder and elbow is killing me, and the varying heights and pressure it puts when I have to put my arms on the desk. I have to keep changing tears. For those that are unaware, I fractured my elbow and have messed up the muscles and tendons in my left bicep. I see the ortho next week, so there may be a lot more one-shots. We will see. But no. Any questions, guys, about anything? Warriors and Warlocks. Never heard of it. I'll have to check it out. Ustad says for us to look at it. It's not your fault, Ustad. Shut up. I'm going to smack you twice now. All right. Since
Yes, Lollipop. The Watership Down is called Bunnies and Burrows, and it is a GURPS skin. Always loved GURPS. Yeah. There's also apparently Bunnies and Burrows Light. Which is apparently less rules intensive. So there you go.
There's multiple editions, so which one is the newest one?
That's a fine question. Todd, you said warlords and warlocks, or warriors and warlocks? Because warriors and warlocks is Green Ronin's Mutants and Mastermind for medieval fantasy.
Warlords and Warlocks.
Okay, I'll have to look into that one.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick a couple of these different things. We're going to do some one shots. And we're going to put them up on Patreon. I think that would be fun. Yeah, Crimson Howling, thanks so much for stopping by. Look, you stop by tomorrow night at 9 p.m. or Sunday at 8. We have 2 streams running, 2 campaigns. They run concurrently with each other. They do impact each other. And this weekend is the weekend of epic boss fights because both parties are taking on epic bosses. So the fate of the world, the fate of the realms rely on this weekend's fights. Seriously.
Yeah, and we might be playing something different afterwards. Who knows? We could all go horribly, horribly wrong.
You're a kobold fanatic? Well, it just so happens that there's a kobold cleric
in full plate armor.
In full plate armor that plays. Hello, the Wise Wolf. There is some things that go on in the back end that we don't have access to change with Twitch. So sometimes it'll say that it's running Red Wagon in or something like that.
Sometimes it says we're playing Vampire the Masquerade when we're playing D&D, and unfortunately we can't always change that because of the way the system works.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I figured you were Rock's wife. Hello. You need to email me, Tyr, Tyr, at willofthedice.com so we can get squared away for your one-shot. We got a couple of one-shots people have won that we're going to get, this year. But good to see you again. I need to check in on Draco Win. I've not seen
them. And just as another note, something else that might be fun for us to do if we need to fill in some more one shots. Were they the one page RPGs?
Yes.
There's a lot of really good ones out there. I have run what is it? There's a Sexy Wizards one that was hilarious. I ran it once. There's Dadlands, which is a favorite of mine. And then there's of course the Honey Heists and things like that. Those are great one shots. So yeah, we're gonna look into those. Maybe there'll be some more of those coming. We might do some of those for Patreon or whatever. Because they're just good, silly fun.
Oh, so Draco Win changed their name. Yeah, the one page RPGs look amazing.
And I highly recommend them to all of you. Just go and Google one page RPGs. They are literally it is one page. It's got all the rules you need. It's got random charts for figuring out what the plot of the adventure is and then running it and it's all good, silly fun. So go and look into those and play them with your friends. They don't take much.
All right, so it is 15 till. If there no more questions, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to get some food and get ready for my mundane job. One day I will be independently wealthy and can do this full time as a living.
Amen.
Make sure, guys, join us tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Tomorrow night's 9 p.m. Yeah, tomorrow night, 9 p.m.
Yes.
Here on Level Up TTV for Darkened Queen and Shadowed Rose as the party takes on Malacutius, the Scourge of the Nightmare Realm, the elder demon that is come to try to destroy the world in the war with Angramora, the Shadow Dreaming. And then Sunday night at 8 p.m., that party will take on Gorgamesh, the elder demon that has been mutating orc into Tanaruk. So, good times. The fate of the world depends on a lot of things, and this could turn into a post-apocalyptic nightmare, which I would be okay with.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not nervous. I'm not. What? No, not me. No.
You will be.
I'm not nervous at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, it should be good times. All right, let's remind people who we are, where they can find us, and get on out of here.
Hi, gamers. I'm still Loch Clark, and you can find me on the Book of Faces and the Twitter Patience at Loch Unruly. That's Loch with an H.
And I'm Tyr the DM. I am the world's okayest DM, and you can find me on Twitter at Tyr_the_DM. Keep an eye out on D&D Beyond for Reign of Squirrely Wrath, as it will be coming out today or tomorrow. And until next time, if someone doesn't know, don't cast aspersions, cast guidance. And remember that we're all in this shit together. So if you're going through something dark, times are hard, find somebody to lean on. Let them be your strength until you can be the strength for someone else. Remember that love and inclusion, these are the torches that light a path to a better tomorrow. Come join us and be torchbearers. And until next time, live a life to make yourself proud.